Hello, everyone. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah.
Merry Christmas! Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are back once again with a year-end list. This time, the top 10 best WWE matches of 2022. This time, I am joined by my esteemed colleague. You see him as the co-host of NX3, as well as Blunt Impact right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, as well as over on Twitch. You see him on Elite Heat every once in a while as well. You've seen him on Roundtable Reviews talk about New Japan. Seen him on AE Ramble even this year with me and Jimmy. He is Ness.
True Heels, what's the deal? Thank you, good brother, for having me here to talk about the top WWE matches of 2022.
Yes, indeed. This is the top 10 best WWE matches as voted on by our contributors here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, our Patreon backers, as well as our friends, our influencers around the wrestling media world, contributing to the 23 nominations that we got for the best WWE matches of 2022. As we are doing with the top 10 best AEW matches of 2022, top 10 best New Japan matches of 2022. What was your overall thoughts, your feelings on WWE in 2022, which was definitely one of the more up and down years in WWE history? You had what was probably one of the worst Royal Rumbles ever, with all the mess with Shane McMahon getting involved. Then you had, Elimination Chamber. You had Roman Reigns and Goldberg going at it at that show. You had Brock winning the WWE title to set up the winner takes all. Then you had WrestleMania, the ups and downs of night one into night two. Cody Rhodes returning to the company. Stone Cold Steve Austin having his first match. You have the whole Vince McMahon scandal, and then him stepping down, Triple H taking over. All the returns, Bailey, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman under the Triple H regime, the Clash at the Castle event, their first event outside of the UK, first major event in years, and then closing off the year with Survivor Series in Boston, everything going on with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns being one of the dominant figures in WWE this year. Kind of thinking about all of that, what's your thoughts on WWE in 2022?
So aside from the Royal Rumble, because that was such a shit show, I think that might have been the lowest point of 2022 for me regarding WWE. Outside of that,
I think we should also mention, before you continue, not to interrupt, but there is a reason why a lot of our videos are more on the positive end, because when you came to like worst matches, worst shows, it's pretty hard to think of like 5. But if you ask me what was the worst show, the first one that comes to mind is the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, Royal Rumble. Like, I don't want to just flat out say it sucked, but like the men's one, it was just like there was no excitement in that one. But yeah, outside of the Royal Rumble, I went to a lot of these shows with extremely low expectations, and then they pretty much knocked it out of the park. So I really can't be upset out of a lot of the shows. Especially under now the Triple H regime. I'm still waiting for a lot of things to happen under his watch, but I can say a lot of the shows actually have been more on the positive side of entertainment and good matches in ring. So again, but outside of the Royal Rumble, that was under Vince. So other than that, everything's been, yeah.
He's like, we're not going to put that on Triple H.
No, I'm not going to put that on. That's the one thing I won't put on. Trust me. We've had our conversations outside of a lot of the things that a lot of the fans are just like, oh, give Triple H time. Like, no, I'm not giving him shit. You guys said when he gets in power, all this stuff is supposed to happen. And a lot of it hasn't happened yet. But that's a whole nother conversation for another video.
Let's get into the our list here. First up, some honorable mentions. These are some of the matches that were kind of dropped to us, kind of given to us throughout our kind of balloting and tallying up. You had from your home NXT a couple of matches just missing out on the cusp. Where I thought we would get at least one NXT match, but a lot of the contributors, the nominations that we got leaned to the main roster. But you had Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov versus JD McDonough at Halloween Havoc. Me, myself, I will say that was in my top 5 best WWE matches of this year. You had the North American title ladder match from both Stand and Deliver and Halloween Havoc getting votes. You had Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville from WrestleMania getting a few votes. You also had RK Bro versus Seth Rollins versus Alpha Academy from from early on Raw in March. One of the better tag team matches that they had on Raw this year. And then closing out the kind of the honorable mentions, you had the men's War Games matchup, which is definitely in my top 10. And then you had also Ricochet versus Carmelo Hayes from Worlds Collide.
I'm actually surprised that any of the NXT show matches got an honorable mention. I didn't think any of them would even sniff being recognized like that, just probably because of the weekly product. But like when they have their major shows, they usually have good shows. So I'm not surprised about, but I am kind of surprised that there was some mentions for them. So good for NXT for not pissing me off at least once this week.
Yes, I know our friends over at the wrestling club. Shout outs to Victor Perry. He's gonna be mad that Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet from Worlds Collide did not make our list here. But we digress. Let's get into the top 10, Ness, and we're gonna start off with number 10. And we go to WrestleMania Backlash, and you had Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins 2. This was the rematch from WrestleMania 38. These two men having just as great of a matchup at WrestleMania Backlash as they did at WrestleMania 38. And Cody kind of going into a bag of tricks and out cheating Seth Rollins to get the win in this one. What's your memories of this match here?
So these guys had like one of the best trilogy series going into this year or in this year. And usually I'm not really a fan of the whole 50-50 booking. Like, well, I'll have to see these guys face each other again, even though Seth is down 0-3. But this was one of my favorite matches from that pay-per-view. Again, going into it, I thought that Seth might have had a victory or might have had a chance of making it, 1v1. But, clean sweep Cody. That's what I'm gonna call him for that series. Clean sweep Cody. So yeah, Cody pulling out the win just makes it more makes his return feel more important to the company. He got it. Obviously, he was going to get the win at Mania, and then they just pushed him beyond belief. Up until he was injured. So I really enjoyed that match. Waiting for his return. See what happens when he returns. I think they got big plans for him. I just hope they keep it all in motion.
And just a spoiler alert, all 3 Seth and Cody matches making our list here. I would say Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes had one of the best trilogies that WWE has offered. And Seth has done this in back-to-back years with his trilogy with Edge in 2021 and now here with Cody in 2022. This match, it will probably get lost in the shuffle due to, the return of Cody at WrestleMania and then his injury at Hell in a Cell. But I thought this match was a great addition to their trilogy, and I thought it was just as good as their WrestleMania match. So this was actually just voted in, just reaching the top 10. We did a fan poll on Twitter, and this was basically beat out a couple of our honorable mentions that we just mentioned there.
Oh, well, you know what? The way that you, the spoiler, that makes sense for this match to be the last, I guess, or not as high on the bracket as the other two. Because again, like you mentioned, Mania and then his injury, those are 2 significant situations where this match in particular wasn't going to beat those 2, regardless of the return and then just his performance in the Hell in a Cell with the pectoral injury. So I can see what this coming in at number 10 makes sense.
Yeah. I like I said, I thought it was a great match. I thought it was just as good as the WrestleMania matchup. Did I have it in my top 10? No.
No.
Also, I could say the same thing about our number 9 here, coming in at number 9. I think that our contributors and our nominations are very Seth Rollins heavy, as we have from WWE Clash at the Castle, Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. These two men had a very good rivalry on Monday Night Raw that got very personal heading into Clash at the Castle after Seth took out Riddle and took him out of SummerSlam, even though we found out later it was probably cocaine that took him out. But nonetheless, they had a great match on one of the best shows WWE has offered in years at Clash at the Castle. Me, myself, though, I would say out of the top 3 matches at Clash at the Castle, I had this rated lower than even Roman and Drew. And the other match we'll mention later in this list, but Roman and Drew, I thought was better than this match. I thought this match was great, 4-star, 4.25 if you want to go high on it, but I didn't think it was even the second best match at Clash at the Castle. But what's your thoughts on this one?
Not to, because I remember the match, but I'm trying to this is the match that
Seth won.
Seth won.
Seth won.
So
I believe it was with a top, like a second rope stomp.
The stomp. All right, yeah. So now it's starting to come back to me. Yeah, I gotta agree. This probably would be like maybe 3rd or 4th match of the night for me from Clash of the Castle.
You could probably even make an argument for the women's 6-man. So I had 6 women. I can even say that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that this is entered as high as it is, or just entered, period. Again, a good match. Seth Rollins mark here, so you'll never hear me talk bad unless he's, going off the deep end on Twitter with some crazy antics that he does here and there at times. 2 great performers. I'm actually glad. I'm glad that Matt Riddle has the year that he's had. If it didn't come down to Orton being injured, I don't think he probably would have had such the run that he was having. These guys had another great match. That second rope curb stomp, all it took to put Matt Riddle away. These guys were going at it. Also, I don't know if this is going to be on the promo, the top promos of the year, but like you said, their feud was really heated. Me personally, I rated Seth's, what he had to say about Riddle. I forgot the date of whatever episode of Monday Night Raw it was.
Oh yeah,
but he's like, you little bitch. Or no, they said, your wife left your bitch ass, and I'm like, whoa, this is that realness that we're missing in a lot of WWE storylines. Like this is gonna make me invested. This made me way more invested into the match and just the feud itself. So I actually appreciate that they took the time to utilize those real life nuances and cross it over, blur the lines, because that makes it more interesting. Well, who else want to hear? Oh man, yeah, you're going through some real life shit with your wife. Oh, they're talking about this on TV. Yeah, I really like it.
And now we see where Matt Riddle is.
Well, yeah.
To break
down, too real.
To break down some of the numbers on the first 2 entries that we got here, number 10, Seth and Cody at Backlash. They received 3 nominations out of our 23 nominations given, and Seth and Riddle at Clash of the Castle had 4 nominations out of the 23. Seth and Cody had 8 points, along with a couple of our honorable mentions, and then Seth and Riddle had 10 points. So just 1 extra nomination boosted it up 2 points. So people were very high. I believe this may be one that might have been because of the build-up and all of that stuff heading into it, and then the match being great. Maybe people remember it fondly. Probably similar case here, Ness, with our number 8. And as I said, our nominations are very Seth Rollins heavy as we go back all the way to January to the Royal Rumble WWE Universal Championship up for grabs. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. This is the infamous match with Seth coming out to the Shield theme and
Yeah.
coming out in the Shield attire, coming through the crowd, playing the mind games with Roman, hitting him with the Shield bomb at one point, and then Roman basically he got so much under Roman's skin. Roman caused himself to get disqualified, choking him out in the guillotine, despite Seth having hold of the ropes and wouldn't let go at the count of 5. This one received also 4 nominations, but it had 11 points, 1 point higher than our number 9. Once again, though, Ness, I'm gonna say it again. This is another match I did not have in my top
I
10.
didn't.
Undeniably, it's a very good matchup, but the finish, I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
finish is what I remember, and it's a big but to this match's case to be in our top 10.
Well, not even that. Just it's pretty much almost a year removed by next month, and as a credit to me, I'm so upset that I actually forgot that this happened. This was definitely my match of the night. Seth
Yeah.
came in with the mind games, coming out with the Shield. Like everybody knows, when it's a major pay-per-view, he'll cosplay or just have some, outlandish attire. When he came out in the Shield gear to the Shield theme, I marked out. I extremely marked out. The match itself, once again, was great. I do remember the finish. I was happy that Seth got the win, but then and the way that he got the win, he didn't get a clean victory, but
Sure.
at the time, Roman has to be, kept looking strong. So the disqualification, I get that, and I actually appreciate it. I also want to say that they fell off with this because it happened, and then we're all like, "What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next?" And then it was just like, all right, well, that's kind of something that we're going to keep in the back pocket. And they never really touched on it in full once again. So I'm
Seth
hoping,
would mention it ever so
yeah,
often, and he even
right,
mentioned it on the Monday Night Raw before we're recording this. And yeah,
nothing,
no
yeah.
follow.
No, because it's too Sami Zayn's too over right now with the bloodline to throw Seth in there. But that again, that's a whole nother story. But yes, I'm actually glad this is in the on our top 10 list, because it definitely it elicits a lot of emotion out of me. A big fan of both of these guys, and the fact that everybody like that. I feel like when we were on the watch along, everybody marked out for this. It was one of those moments like, oh, you forget that these guys are pretty much like on a road working together for so long. They know each other so well, and it just shows in their matches all the time. I'll even throw John Moxley in there. When these guys were having their matches when he was still in WWE, these guys have such great chemistry, and it always shows. And this was definitely again one of my matches of the night, or probably my match of the night from the Royal Rumble. And again, Seth got a win, even though it probably wasn't the win that I was expecting, or how I wanted it to happen. I was glad he got it anyway. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. There. Like I said, I think these guys have great chemistry. It was a very good matchup, and Seth playing the mind games definitely
yeah,
one of the highlights of like we said, one of the worst shows of the year in the Royal
yeah,
Rumble.
that's yeah.
Let's move on to number 7, as this one received 12 points, 5 nominations, including 1 top level nomination, first place vote. We go to
Ooh,
Money in the Bank, and we have the Usos versus the Street Profits for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. This was actually a match that was in that mix with Cody and Seth from
yeah.
Backlash at the bottom of our list, along with the honorable mentions. But we got late entries that had it on the list, and including one that gave it a top level nomination. So, what's your memories, your thoughts, Usos, Profits from Money in the Bank? Usos getting the win with the 1D, Montez Ford's shoulder being up to set up the rematch. But all I remember from this match is everyone saying this was like the best Usos match since the New Day series in like 2017.
Yeah, so this match, well, outside of the finish, because that just came rushing back after you said the pinning situation. I went into this thing. I'm like, you know what? It's a Street Profits time, and boy, was I wrong. I was severely wrong. Again, they're just on a straight and extremely powerful run. You know, the whole bloodline thing. So I don't know why I thought that the Street Profits were going to win, but yeah, it was another great showing. Even Angelo Dawkins, as much as I give him a lot of shit for, you know, so long just being in WWE and NXT under you know, the character that he was, and he finally got somewhere good with Montez Ford and the Street Profits. So like now they're on a roll and everything was doing great. Now they're getting another chance to get a title shot. Outside of that, just wasn't their time, man. It's nobody's time. It's nobody's time other than the Usos right now. And as much as I like the Usos and they're one of my favorite tag teams, you know, it's like nobody else compares to them. Like you'll see these guys, Usos versus whoever, and it's just like, all right, I already know the outcome of this match. I'm just waiting to see if it's a good match, because you already know what's going to happen. Again, I went into this thinking that it was the Street Profits time, and I was severely wrong once again. And the Usos, 1D, one and done. That's all it took. A great match, though. You know, Montez Ford is his star. I don't want to be that guy, just like some other people I know. Everybody's just like, oh, when's he going to go solo? When's he going to go solo? I can hold off a little bit because Angelo Dawkins has stepped his game up. I'll give him his props.
I would say Angelo Dawkins is among the most improved wrestlers of 2022.
And honestly,
I thought that this match was kind of one of his breakouts. He had a hell of a performance in there. Montez Ford was his usual great stuff, but this was a matchup where we were like, no, Angelo Dawkins is really good. I think this was kind of the first match that really started opening people's eyes, and this was a match that the Street Profits really needed, because I think that the Usos and the Street Profits first meeting on SmackDown in the summer of 2021 was a great match, but it was in the empty arena Thunderdome, so not a lot of people remembered it. And then following that, they had a bunch of matches on either like TV or one on pay-per-view that were just good. It wasn't like great matches like that first time they went at it. And this match, I was just like, oh, I've seen it so many times, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. And it just exceeded my expectations so much. They just went into the next gear, had some tremendous near falls that had the crowd biting, and this really stole the show in Las Vegas at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Can't agree more.
For a lot of the year, I had this in my top 5, but a couple of matches, as we'll see here, came afterwards that bumped it off, including our number 6 Ness. It received 15 points, so 3 points up from number 7. It received 2 top-level nominations, 6 nominations out of the 23 for Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns from SummerSlam. In my opinion, the greatest visual of 2022. Ness, what's your memories on this one?
This visual right here, outside of all the wrestling that happened in this match, the fucking tractor trailer destroying the ring. If you don't remember anything from SummerSlam or just WWE in itself from 2022, you remember Brock Lesnar driving that tractor trailer to the ring, lifting the ring up, the ref taking the bump outside of the ring, like all the craziness that was going on during this match. And at that point, we've seen Brock and Roman, I don't know how many fucking times at this point. So it was just like, what else can you guys do to actually make this memorable? Because going into it, I was one of the main people. I don't want to see this shit again. How many times these guys going to fucking wrestle over the years? I don't want to see this shit again. But they did do something for it to stand out from one of their many meetings. So I will give them credit for that. This definitely was extremely memorable.
Indeed. Yeah, this was Brock and Roman at their best, kind of meeting their peak, what they did at WrestleMania 31, and just adding kind of sports entertainment nonsense. You had, Brock lifting Roman into the tractor and throwing him into the ring. You had him doing the best press off the tractor to start the match. You had the stuff with him doing the intro and throwing the mic to Roman and Roman catching it so
Yeah.
smoothly. Like, there was so much fun stuff. You had the Austin Theory running and him getting battered down, and Roman just battering Brock to the end and building the mountain on top of him so he can stand and pose. Man, this is one of the best SummerSlam matches in quite some time, in my opinion. I love this match, and it was definitely in my top 5, along with number 5 as we enter our top 5 for our collective list here. Coming in at number 5, we got 16 points, so just 1 point higher than number 6, Ness. 2 first place votes as well out of I believe, yes, 7 nominations. You have Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul from Crown Jewel. Roman Reigns getting the win, but this is the story of Logan Paul stealing the show and, in my opinion, becoming the greatest celebrity turned wrestler that I've ever seen.
That I can't disagree with that. Everybody was skeptical of how he was going to perform. He went out there and put on a hell of a show. Unfortunately, he was injured during the match, which when I say unfortunately, I mean like, damn, we don't know when the next time he's going to come back in the ring, because I want to see Logan Paul. And I didn't think I'd ever say that. Let me just say that real quick. I did not ever think I'd say, damn, when is Logan Paul going to have another match? I want to see that. He put on a hell of a performance against Roman. Oh, man, from the buckshot lariat to the phenomenal forearm. That was his version of the phenomenal forearm. These guys really made Crown Jewel, like, that was everybody's match of the night at Crown Jewel. It was an extremely great match. Once again, I don't know when he's coming back or if, but it needs to happen. Definitely, he's at the top of the list for celebrities. Right under is Bad Bunny. Yeah. But again, he's an actual athlete. Bad Bunny isn't. So we'll figure out the semantics on that. But yeah, Logan Paul definitely, he went out there and shocked the world. Even though we've seen him in a match before, it was the tag team match with The Miz. So like tag team matches, you don't really have to do much. Even though he did a lot in that match. But going out there, especially being in there with the top guy and the whole company, and Roman didn't have to carry him at all. Like, he worked. No. So I really give him his props for that too. So that's definitely the top 5. I think that might have been on my list. One of my matches. Maybe not. But if not, it should have been.
I'm not sure. I didn't write down who nominated what. I just put the nomination. It had 6 nominations, in fact, not 7. But 2 of them were top level, and that's why it's this high. And I think it deserves to be this high. I think Roman Reigns' second half of this year, he made up for what I thought was a downturn as far as him churning out classics. But you had his great, he had one of the best TV matches in WWE with Riddle on SmackDown. Then he followed that up with the Brock Lesnar match. As we said before, him and Drew McIntyre tore it up at Clash at the Castle. And then you got this match here with Logan Paul. I think this is probably his best one-on-one match of 2022. And that says a lot because he's in there with a guy who had 2 previous matches before him.
Right. Just like, what can we do? What are we going to see? He only had 2 matches. Roman saying he only had 2 matches. This guy only had 2 matches. I've been a champ for 2 years. He can't hang with me. I mean, he ain't win, but he definitely hung in there with you.
Indeed he did. But talking about someone coming in, let's go to number 4 on our list. This one did get 7 nominations. This is a weird case because it had 7 nominations, but it had only 1 first place vote. So it had less first place votes than Roman and Logan and Roman and Brock, but it makes it to number 4 on our list. We go all the way back to WrestleMania 38, the return of Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. The first time these 2 men went one-on-one in 2022. What's your memories on this one, Ness?
Man, just the return itself. We all knew, the door for AEW was closing with Cody. You can see it every week with everything he was going through with the crowd. They weren't really a fan like as high on him when they used to be. But that pop when Seth was issuing the open challenge and wrestling only has one royal family or more than one royal family. The place went crazy. I don't know the name of that thing when like they raise him up from under the stage. Comes up the whole scenario or scene, the smoke, everything. It just felt like a major moment. Him getting the win was a major moment. Just him being back in WWE is a major moment for Cody. Again, this will probably be out of the 3 matches. It'll probably be number 1 for me, solely because everything that's surrounding the emotion around it, just the caliber of match it was. These 2 guys are, again, Seth, one of my top wrestlers in the world, Cody up there as well. Just a lot of stuff surrounding this that out of the trilogy, this would be number 1 for me. Probably the 3rd match will be like number 2 for me. And, their second match will be 3rd. But yeah, and especially it being at Mania made it even more important because that's their biggest show of the year. One of the biggest moments for two of their biggest stars. It just all lined up perfectly.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since at WrestleMania we had like 2 single stars who are kind of at that same level, having that big WrestleMania highlight type of matchup. I think it's been a couple of years. I mean, the closest thing you could probably say is maybe Seth and Cesaro last year, but that was more about establishing Cesaro. But yeah, it's been a while since it lived up to the hype, and we had the reversals, we had the near falls, and I love the finish with Cody pulling out the dusty, shucky duggy and the bionic elbow, putting it out there, and then finishing them off with the crossroads for the win. I thought this was a beautiful wrestling match. Seth busting out the pedigree, working over the arm of Cody, and the crowd was just so enthralled and into every single moment in this matchup. I got to give it up. WrestleMania 38 night 1 was tremendous, and that is why that moves us on very, very smoothly to number 3. We go back to WrestleMania 38, and there is a match that was rated higher from this list. We talked about Zayn and Knoxville making our honorable mentions. We talked about Cody and Seth just now. The match that preceded Cody and Seth received 19 points, 1 point higher than what Cody and Seth at WrestleMania 38 did, but it received 3 first place votes. We got Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair from WrestleMania 38. Bianca Belair finally defeating Becky Lynch to win the Raw Women's Championship. You had the pomp and circumstance at the beginning with Becky Lynch montage of her career in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe form. Then you had her pulling up in a white late Maybach or something like that, pulling out looking like big time best, like she was walking the runway. And then you have Bianca Belair come out with the HBIC college, Texas A&M, performing her out there, the drum line, performing her song. It was awesome. And then you had the matchup deliver. You had it become actually serious with an injury when Becky caught her with that big boot in the picture we just saw coming off of the flip off the top rope, and her eye swelling up, but she's still fighting through. And then that final reversal as Becky hit her with the man slam on the steel steps on the floor. She then tries to go for an avalanche man slam, and Bianca just flips out. KLD 1, 2, 3, get the win. You had the stuff at the beginning with them calling back to the SummerSlam match. This is such a great match. I just watched it back, and that's why I remember a lot of the sequences and the spots that stood out from it. But what do you remember the most?
So I'm gonna start off. I remember having the fucking bad taste in my mouth from SummerSlam of last year of them facing each other, and that match going what 15 seconds. Bianca getting squashed. So they knew better than to fucking go into this match and have that shit happen all over again. But me personally, I remember being on a watch along. At this point of the show, it finally felt like Mania. It was like a big thing. The entrances, it felt like a big fight feel, and it felt like this was where the show went for a turn, and everything just went up after this. Again, these ladies put on a hell of a match. Bianca definitely taking that boot to the face. It's funny because I was just watching one of her Instagram videos, the one that she had drunk guy JJ's daughter Nia in.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, man. Like, yo, I remember her eye just being like fucking big and just bruised up and shit. So it's funny that this is number 3 in our list, because I literally was just watching that or just thinking about that yesterday. But yeah, again, the right person won, and then just from then on, Bianca's been on a tear for 2022. So again, you refer to her as John Cena of the women's division, and I can't say you're wrong at that. She's definitely been carrying it and doing a hell of a job doing so. So much respect to both, but big props to Bianca.
Yes, and they actually got not 19 points, 29 points. This is a big jump up from Cody and Seth at number 4, but 3 top level nominations out of the 10 nominations that they received for Bianca and Becky. Well deserved for one of the best women's matches in all of wrestling for 2022. But let's move on to the top 2 here, Ness. And we got a little bit of a jump up as well here, as we got this one, number 2, coming in with 37 points, 5 top level nominations. You got Cody and Seth 3, the bruise match. You got Cody versus Seth 3 inside of Hell in a Cell. Of course, you had all the reports going into the matchup about Cody's injury and it being very serious. People questioning if Cody was even going to perform on the show. And then you had the hush, the shock from the fans when Cody took off his jacket to start this matchup, and then everything became real and had a level of stake to it and you know, intensity to it and danger to it. It was the first time the Hell in a Cell felt dangerous in felt like a decade. It was just everything you could imagine for a Hell in a Cell match, and it was greatly helped by an injury. And, you know, Seth being his great self, coming out dressed as Dusty Rhodes with the polka dots. You had Cody with his moment at the beginning, and then fighting through, pulling out the bull rope. You had Seth pulling out the polka dot strap. Then you had Cody finally hitting the pedigree in this fucking matchup after teasing it throughout his AEW run, the last year of his AEW run. And then he finally hits it in this matchup, and then pulling out the most gutsy performance we have seen since this side of Triple H tearing his quad and continuing the matchup. What do you remember about Cody and Seth?
So yeah, definitely when he took that jacket off, I'm like, oh man, this motherfucker is half zombie. Look at his look at his arm. Like, just look at his purple and bruised. At first, I didn't get to see the whole thing. And I remember Romeo saying, yo, look at that. I'm like, oh yeah, it does look bad. Then when he actually took the whole jacket off, I'm like, oh, this is much worse than what you were saying. Like, I didn't think it was that bad at first, but he gutted it out, put on a hell of a performance. Again, Cody had to be the MVP of this show, because there is no way that I could have went out there with that type of injury, my body looking like that, and then just going full force like nothing was wrong with me. That's how he looked. He just looked like there was nothing wrong with him outside of it. Was like, oh, I just got purple makeup on. That's nothing. Like, no, this motherfucker tore his pectoral muscle probably off bone. Yes. And it's just like, oh my God, how are you doing this? How are you wrestling? And what made it even more extreme, dangerous, Seth was working over the body part. So it seemed like, all right, you're injured, but I'm gonna stay away from it. Like, no, you're injured and I'm gonna fucking hurt it even more. So and it just made it seem like that more dangerous. But again, these guys are both professionals. They know what they're doing. They put on a hell of a match. Again, 3-0 Cody, clean sweep Cody. I don't know, Seth. Maybe you can get one in 2023. We'll see.
Yes, clean sweep, Cody. But yeah, this match for me. I think this is like the casual fans match of the year, not just
Yeah,
WWE match of the year. Casual fans just seem to just be amazed by this matchup because you can instantly get into the story due to the visual aid of
yeah.
Cody's injury.
And
Uh,
it's oh, I just want to say, yeah,
yeah,
like they don't, like you said, the casual fan, they don't really follow along how we do. So when you see something like, oh man, what's going on with this guy? And then you get the backstory, oh, he's injured, blah, blah, blah. We know that, like, all right, these guys can work around that. The casual fan is just something new to them. They're just like, oh my God, he's really wrestling like that. So it adds an element or a little bit more respect for the casual fan and like, oh man, these guys really do go out there and put their bodies on. Like, yeah, they do. So when you know, the casual fan or fan that tunes in once in a while that says, oh, it's fake and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it's really not. These guys really are fucking out there banging themselves up and beating their bodies up for our entertainment. So show a little bit more respect to them.
absolutely. This raised my respect of Cody Rhodes, and you guys, if you're longtime viewers of the channel, know my feelings on Cody Rhodes and my history. So I gained a level of respect here. But they just missed out on the top spot on our list. I don't think it should be any surprise what comes in
Mm-mm.
at number one after all the matches that we listed here. Coming in at number one with 41 points, Ness, 5 top level nominations out of 20, out of 23 nominations, 20 nominations had this match on their list somewhere from
Yep.
WWE Clash at the Castle. It's Gunther versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. I've heard this said on a couple of different channels. I absolutely agree. One of the greatest WWE matches of all time. Not the best, not just True Hill Heat's best WWE match of 2022. I think that if we did a top 10 best WWE matches of all time, this would be in my top 10 for sure, because
Yeah.
this was just unlike anything we have ever experienced. This is something that we as Gunther fans had always seen, but we had never seen it to this level on the main roster, on this stage, on the big stadium in front of 70,000 people. They went out there and created something special, battered. When it comes to the hard hitting, big, meaty men slapping meat, this is the upper echelon of
Yeah.
that style of matchup. And this is one of two matchups the whole year, Ness, that I rated at 4.75 stars, that I went back, watched again, and then said it was 5 stars. You'll
Yeah.
see the other one on the list of the top 10 best NJPW matches of the year. But this one right here, I gave it 4.75 stars when we reviewed Clash at the Castle the day after the show. But I went back and watched it. I even said when I rated it 4.75 stars, oh, it's close. It's close. I could give it 5 stars. I think I would have gave it 5 stars, but then rewatching it, hearing the crowd, when it comes to the crowd, it was a simple build-up. It was just these two guys are gonna fight, and
Yeah.
everybody got excited for it, and then it delivered, even exceeded all of our expectations. What's your memories, Gunther, Sheamus, Clash at the Castle?
So I definitely gave this 5 stars. I can personally say this is my WWE match of the year. I going into it, I knew these guys were gonna put on like a slobber knocker, because these are both two hard hitting, like you said, big, big sweaty men slapping meat. Um, Very hard hitting. I'll go out of my way and call it the United Kingdom strong style. That's basically what it got out of this. A whole lot of chops, a whole lot of hard hitting. You're gonna get that with Sheamus. You're gonna get a hard hitting match regardless. Gunther, he's gonna chop the fuck out of you. Um, Sheamus's chest was a testament to that. It was just blood vessels popped all over it. These guys are just hitting hard, going back and forth, and then it was just I can't praise it enough, because again, going into Clash of the Castle, I'm like, all right, it's going to be another B level pay per view or PLE. All right, these guys are going to have a decent match. But when it actually came down to it and they were performing, and outside of the realm of, everybody knows me, I'm the flippy guy. I love Lucha Libre. I love the flips. I love the kicks. There was none of that in this match. And I'm going on to say that it's my WWE match of the year because of just how hard hitting, hard striking it was, the near falls, and the resurgence of Sheamus. Like the second half of this year, he's had a hell of a second half of the year. You know, he's always been a solid worker. And it's kind of felt like at one point he might have just been, you know, trying to slow it down for his career, and it just turned and said, no, like, no, I'm not going to slow down at all. I'm just going to turn it up. And then like the crowd was behind him extremely heavy in this match. And it kind of seemed like maybe like at one point they will be giving him Intercontinental title run. I think that's the one title that he hasn't had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at some point, hopefully, maybe Mania, we'll see when it comes around. If that's a storyline they want to revisit, then he can actually get that moment in the sun and pretty much have every title that WWE and WWE. But right now, it's Gunther's time. He's putting on classics. He's been putting on classics ever since he got there from NXT UK to NXT to the main roster. So big shout out to both of these guys. They deserve the number one spot in this top 10 list, because this is definitely, once again, the match of the year, in my opinion. I'm sure for every other people on our channel, you as well, you guys agree. This was definitely, there's nothing better than this.
Yeah, this was the top of the top for me. I know, it had the same amount of first place votes as Cody and Seth, and I think what a lot of people who voted that number one can say is that probably the two other matches affected the voting here, but it wasn't the same with Gunther and Sheamus, who then had another great match on television on SmackDown. This was something special. It had that energy and that atmosphere to it. Like those fans in Cardiff, Wales were just salivating for this matchup, and then they just absolutely brutalized each other. Just look at Sheamus's chest at the end of that damn match. It looks like raw meat. Like he just got beaten to death. And then Gunther was getting bruised and battered. The 25 beats of the Bowery just clumbing down on these men. This is one of the most hard-hitting matches that has ever been seen in WWE. I think this proves that Gunther is the best bout machine in WWE in 2021. I felt he had the best WWE match of the year with Ilya Dragunov at TakeOver 36. He did the same thing, had the best WWE matchup of 2020 with Ilya Dragunov on NXT UK. He had one of the best matches of 2019 with Tyler Bate in Cardiff, and then he turned around, came back to Cardiff, and did it here in 2022. True Hill Heat's top WWE match of the year. Ness, thank you so much for joining me, talking about this whole year in WWE, some of the best matches, recapping that, giving our memories about it. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, good sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at skinny__Kravitz, and right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Every Tuesday, NX3, myself, Chris G, and Romeo Anthony Colon, we go live watching NXT. Every Thursday, Blunt Impact, myself and Chris G, we go live watching Impact Wrestling. I pop up every other week, or when I can, on Elite Heat. Every Wednesday, we watch Dynamite. Pop up on the round tables, pop up on other shows as well, if I can get in there. And yeah, just subscribe to the True Hill Heat channel. Give us a like.
Yes, drop the like on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at True Hill SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at True Hill Heat, where we'll post most of our content up on there as well. If you want to be a bigger supporter to what we do here, patreon.com/True Hill Heat, $3 a month for our True Hill Heat Prediction Championship. That's going to culminate season 2 with Wrestle Kingdom, as well as exclusive content like our Raw recaps every single week, Dark Power, as well as more content coming in 2023. If you like Blunt Impact and you want to see Ness every Thursday, twitch.tv/True Hill Heat Gaming. In the new year, we're going to have more gaming content over there from Top Guy JJ and Chris G, as well as subscribe to the True Hill Heat Sports YouTube channel. Despite a lot of our content being pre-recorded for the final week of the new year, we're going to have plenty of new and watch along live content over at True Hill Heat Sports. So check that out over there, and check out all the rest of our lists that are up already or coming up as well. You got our top 10 best AEW matches of 2022 with myself and Stat King that you can watch right now, or tomorrow. Hit the notification, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here, and subscribe, because tomorrow we got our top 10 best NJPW matches of 2022. And if you want the entire recap of the winners voted on you, the fans of True Hill Heat, as well as us, the contributors, check out True Hill Heat 206 with our 6th annual True Hill Heat year-end awards. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and True Draw Josh breaking down all the winners voted by you on our group page, as well as on Patreon and through our True Hill Heat year-end awards voting form. So that is all for the top 10 best WWE matches of 2022. Thank you so much to Ness. Happy holidays to you, Ness. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Happy Festivus. Everything that you're celebrating. We appreciate you all for supporting us here at True Hill Heat. For Ness, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been the top 10 best WWE matches of 2022. We are signing off until next time.